What's up, folks? Happy Thursday. I want to share with you guys a concept that is mandatory for us to know if we want to grow and get better and become a better version of ourselves. If we want to do these things and we want to improve and take things to the next level, we really absolutely have to understand this concept. And this is essentially the premise of the book that I wrote a while ago. So some of you may already know what I'm talking about. And the reason I'm talking about this now is because we did our second day of the grade 10 youth education program last week. And I had a conversation with one of the students that kind of got me thinking about the importance of this concept again. So what we were talking about in the program was the way that we talk to ourselves, essentially, and kind of the way that we framed it was what the little voice in our head says. We had to tell them that you're not crazy if you hear voices in your head as a disclaimer, which a lot of people do think and did think for many years, but it is completely normal. But we broke into partners, and I partnered up with one of these students, and we were talking about, the exercise was to talk about how we talk to ourselves and what these little voices say. And I spoke first, and I told him, the little voice in my head can often be quite negative, which was a common theme at that point when we went around the classroom and talked a little bit about the exercise. Few students mentioned that. I mentioned that when I spoke first to the partner that I had. And then when he said what his voice told him, he said that his voice is very pessimistic. So he can be very pessimistic to himself. And when he said this, I explained to him how having maybe negative or pessimistic thoughts is not weird. It's very common for all of us, and it's natural, and it's the way that our brain is actually designed and wired, where our brain is wired to protect us, in the sense where if we're trying to do something that maybe makes us feel uncomfortable, or if we're trying to grow and step out of our comfort zone, then our brain is going to, it can be quite negative in a sense, where it's going to try to talk to us about holding us back and protecting us. So it's going to say, you shouldn't do this isn't good for you, whatever, pretty much essentially anything that it can say. So when I said this to him and kind of explained to him very briefly about how the brain works this way and how he's not weird that he thinks this way, I could see when I explained it to him, the way that he reacted was, well, he said he was very surprised, and he said, that's very interesting to hear, and I didn't realize that that's kind of how it worked. And I could see it. I could see his expression when I was explaining it to him, that he was really taking it in, and it really made a lot of sense for him, which was really cool, because that's the whole point of reaching this age group, in the sense of we're really trying to teach them things that you don't really learn in school, and how important it is to know that if you have negative thoughts, it doesn't mean you're a bad person, or it's just you, and that everyone has these thoughts, and you're supposed to be having these thoughts because that's the way that our brain is designed. So it was really cool. I really noticed how powerful it was for him, and it leaded me to want to talk about this concept to you guys again. So the concept is that if you want to grow and you really want to push the barriers and step into a better version of yourself, you need to understand that your brain is not working in your best interest. Now, if your goal is that you want to feel comfortable and you want to spend your life in bed and very protected, then your brain is working in your best interest. But if you're someone who's trying to grow and who is really trying to expand and become just expand mentally and physically and do all of these things that are really going to improve you, there's a lot of discomfort involved with that. And if you are trying to be this person, then you need to understand that your brain in this case is not working in your best interest. Your brain is going to try very hard to talk you out of doing the things that you want to do. And this is extremely important, because people, if you don't realize this, you don't understand what's happening as you're going through the process of trying to change. And the brain is very smart, and it's gonna win most of the time if you're not aware of what to look out for. When you think about it in the sense, obviously you're a smart person, your brain is very smart, but also your brain is the only person, or sorry, the only thing that knows you just as well as you know yourself. There's no one else on the planet that can say anything to hurt you like your brain can. And your brain, it goes even deeper than that, to the point where your brain knows what works to stop you and hold you back. It knows exactly what to say to you, when to say it, and how to say it to have the most effective result in stopping you from achieving what you're trying to achieve. So we need to understand that, first of all, our brains are not us. They are designed this way to keep us safe on purpose. So it doesn't mean there's something wrong with you if you're having these thoughts or negative thoughts. It's simply your brain trying to protect you. But if you're someone who's trying to get uncomfortable and grow and do big things, and you really need to understand that your brain is not on your side about this, and you're going to be facing a lot of obstacles that the brain is going to intentionally put in your way if you're trying to grow. For example, if you're trying to get up early, and you know, the way that the brain works essentially is it doesn't know that what you are doing is really good for you know, good for yourself and good for your outcome. It only sees things that it's not used to, and you trying to put yourself in an uncomfortable position. So even though you are trying to become a better person, your brain doesn't see that. It just says, I need to protect you. That's my job. I haven't been updated since the dinosaur age or the ice age. So I need to protect you from dinosaurs, and this is the way it is. So we really need to, I mean, the whole design of the program that I built and that I've been working on religiously for the last, you know, almost 2 years is all about rewiring the brain and updating the brain for this purpose, because the hardware and the software that we are running on is completely outdated for the life that we're living in 2019. So we really need to, our brain isn't just automatically going to update. We need to do that work ourselves. But for now, it's just very important to know that if you're someone who's out there and you're trying to, you know, and if you're hitting these barriers consistently and you're wondering, why can I not grow, and why am I having such a hard time with this, and what is it that's holding me back? It's your brain, and your brain can disguise itself as many different things, whether it is makes you sick, whether it makes you not feel right, you know, changes, your brain can literally change the chemicals in your body and how you feel, if it feels like it needs to really stop you from doing something that you're not doing. Like a body weight set point is a perfect example of that. If you're trying to gain weight or trying to lose weight, this is not normal, and your brain is actually going to change the chemicals. It's going to make you feel uncomfortable, and you don't know what that feeling is. What that feeling is that you're feeling, to a point where it's going to keep you at this thermostat that it feels that your weight should be at. So really cool concept. It's just so awesome kind of teaching these concepts to people who have never heard them before as well. To some of us it may seem a bit more common, but you know, having these conversations with grade 10s is super cool, just in that sense of, you know, it's the first time they're hearing a lot of this stuff, and it really gives them a lot of power back, where a lot of them might be walking around thinking that I have all these problems and all these things are wrong with me, and I'm a negative person, and I think negatively, where you're not weird in that sense. Everyone thinks that way, and it's just a matter of learning, first of all, awareness, learning that, and then knowing that there is a thing called neuroplasticity, where you can actually restructure the way that you rewire your brain. So anyways, that's the concept. The concept is your brain is not working in your best interest, and it is going to try to sabotage you as you try to grow and become a better person. And once you understand the barriers that are in your way, you can then, it's much easier to, you know, get around them and to beat them. Because if you don't know what it is that's holding you back and stopping you, you'll never win. But as soon as you understand what's happening, what your brain is doing, why you feel the way you feel, it makes it that much easier to become successful. So anyways, that's the concept. Hope you guys have an awesome day, and I will talk to you later. Peace.